Good morning everyone, my name is Reza Zahid and my friend Muhammad Dawam Nofal will present our presentation entitled In the Light of 2024 Apalachee High School Shooting, Guns and Child Abuse. Next, table of content. Our presentation will have 4 parts. And first is introduction, second is what's happened in Apalachee High School, third is factors, and last is conclusion. The tragedy of Apalachee High School shooting holds significance to the complexity matters of rising problems in American life, with gun and child abuse and its core. This presentation delves into the complexity surrounding the issue and examining the factors contribute to such tragic incident.
Single file line down this aisle right here after this deputy. Hurry up now, come on, let's go.
What the? Like the moment that it happened, he was at the door and I knew they were looking for him already, but he was at the door and they almost let him in until they backed up, and then he turned away, and that's when you hear like the first rounds of fire. You kind of like, I don't know, I already kind of had a feeling it was gonna happen and it was him, just because when you think of like shooters and how they act or things that they do, it's usually the quiet kid, or like that's what stereotype for it to be, and he was the one that fit that description in our class.
Within minutes, law enforcement was on scene, as well as 2 school resource officers assigned here to the school who immediately encountered the subject within just minutes of this report going out. Once they encountered the subject immediately surrendered to these officers, and he was taken into custody. He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult and handled as an adult. I do, however, want to identify the victims of this incident today, those that lost their life in this tragic event. Mason Schermerhorn, age 14, who is a student here at the school. Christian Angelo, who was 14, also a student here at the school. Richard Aspinwall, I'm not sure of his age, but he was a teacher here at the school. And Christina Irmery, I'm sorry for my pronunciation, who was also a teacher here at the school.
Okay, what's happened in Apalachee High School? The shooting happened on September 4, 2024 in the morning, and the perpetrator, Colt Gray, a 14 years old, brought the AR-15 rifle to school in his backpack. Colt kept the gun until the second period, at which time he asked a teacher if he could go to the front office and speak to someone. Colt took his bag and went to the restroom later, taking out the rifle and killing 2 students and 2 teachers. This tragedy also injured 9 other people in Apalachee High School. Next, the factor from school shooting is first, gun ownership, second, child abuse and school violence.
Firstly, let's talk about gun ownership in America. Gun ownership in America is symbolized as the means of being a patriot, which aims to defend against criminals and such. This means that, with regulations, whether it is thorough or lax, citizens of America have the right to bear arms. However, it is known that gun ownership is a complex matter. Despite the symbolic value of owning a firearm, being patriotic and such, this policy is weighed by its downside. There are risks to safety in allowing individuals to bear firearms. In the context of the Apalachee high school shooting, Georgia, as one of the states with the laxest control on guns, does not implement the rule of having a minimum age to bear arms. Colin Gray, the perpetrator's father of the school shooting in September, is accused of cases of domestic violence. Also cited from the Everytown for Gun Safety Support Fund website, Georgia also does not prohibit the convicted of domestic abuse to bear arms, which in this case, Colin Gray, he indirectly contributed to the felony of his son, Paul Gray, by failing to safeguard the firearm he owned. This serves as an example of how the gaps in regulations could give access to unsupervised use of guns. In particular, the domestic violence Colin Gray aimed toward his children pushed Colt Gray to the wall. Colt Gray's fascination with the private school shooters create the dangerous interaction between the cultural glorification of bearing arms and mentally deteriorating adolescents. Why I say this? It is because based on our reduction from the policy in Everytown for Gun Safety Support Fund website, Georgia does not prohibit child with deteriorating mental health to hold a gun. This availability of guns in the perpetrator's neighborhood made it possible to conduct the felony of school shooting. The Apalachee High School shooting serves as a case example of how gun ownership, no matter how lax or strict the regulation is, might conflict with public safety.
Again, next, school shooting and child abuse. The motive for his felony becomes clear after a thorough investigation conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Colt Gray used to physically abused by his father. His house fell into a complicated familial conflict and often harassed by his peers at school, which in turn led him to put interest in the perpetrators of past school shooting.
And then we will go to school violence. School violence by students is caused by some factors including child abuse, antisocial behavior, negative attitudes, peer rejections, and many different backgrounds. School violence can lead to horrific acts such as school shootings. Although we know that school shootings is also considered as school violence, the school violence we aim to say is the bullying. In America, many cases of school shootings are caused by bullying towards the perpetrator. In the context of our topic, the Apalachee High School shooting, the perpetrator, Colt Gray, was ridiculed by his classmates. Colt Gray was often called names and also harassed him. In some cases, school violence can cause several psychological problems in its victim. Colt aunt Annie Brown says that Colt has a mental health problem, which then leads to the felony of school shooting committed last September. We finally reached the last part, the conclusion. The Apalachee High School shooting case undermine the factors that can lead to school shootings in the U.S. This case highlights several problems that could be perceived from the Apalachee High School shooting, such as gun ownership, child abuse, and school violence. Lax gun regulation in the United States, especially in Georgia, made it easy for Colt Gray to get a hold on a firearm. School shooting cases in the U.S. can be reduced by stricter regulations of guns. Also, school violence such as bullying can cause school shootings. Colt Gray, the perpetrator, who is bullied at school and has a mental health issues, is a serious problem that must be solved.
Okay, thank you. That's all from us. Have a nice day.